You clicked on this because you have felt that terrible gap. You want something. You know you are supposed to feel it now. Feel it as already done. Feel the wish fulfilled. That is the instruction. That is the law. But when you go inside to generate that feeling, you meet only doubt. You meet resistance. You meet the flatness of not believing it yet, and so you wonder if you are doing it wrong. You wonder if this teaching is only for those who already have faith, or imagination strong enough to override the senses. Let me tell you now, and let this be the foundation of everything that follows. The feeling does not require belief. The feeling is not the reward for believing. The feeling is not the reward for believing. The feeling is the method by which belief is born. You do not wait to believe before you feel. You feel and believe, and if you do not yet know how to feel what you have never experienced, or what the outer world contradicts at every turn, then this episode is for you. Because I am going to show you, step by step, how to generate the feeling when you do not believe it yet. How to tend that small flame until it becomes the fire that consumes every doubt. You are not broken. You are not lacking in faith. You simply have not yet been shown the bridge. And the bridge is not belief. The bridge is feel it, and feeling can be built. Welcome. If this is your first time here, this is a place where we explore the teachings of Neville Goddard, one of the most profound mystics and teachers of consciousness the modern world has known. My purpose is not to entertain you, but to lead you into the direct experience of the law that states consciousness is the only reality. That assumption, if persisted in, will harden into fact. That feeling is the secret. Today we are addressing one of the most common and most painful blocks a student of this teaching encounters. You know what you are supposed to do. You know you must assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. But when you try, you meet only emptiness, or worse, disbelief. And so you give up, or you pretend, or you wonder if you are simply not one of the chosen ones who can do this. I tell you, there is no chosen one. There is only consciousness. And consciousness can be directed. What you are about to hear is not theory, it is method. By the end of this episode, you will understand exactly how to generate the feeling, even when belief is nowhere to be found. You will learn to use memory as a bridge. You will learn to use memory as a bridge. You will learn to use gratitude not as a moral practice, but as an emotional primer. And you will learn that the feeling you seek is not somewhere far off in the future, waiting for conditions to justify it. It is here, now, available to you, if only you know where to look. So settle in, quiet the outer world for the next little while, and let us begin. The first principle you must grasp is this. Feeling is not dependent on circumstance. You have been taught by the world that feeling follows fact, that you feel happy because something good happened, that you feel secure because your bank account is full, that you feel secure because someone loves you, and in the world of effect, that seems true. But you are no longer living in the world of effect. You are awakening to the world of cause. And in the world of cause, feeling comes first. Feeling is the soil in which fact takes root. So when I say you must generate the feeling, I do not mean you must wait for the feeling to arrive on its own. I mean you must call it forth. You must summon it. And this is where the confusion begins, because most people believe that to summon a feeling they must first believe the thing is true. But that is backward. You do not believe in order to feel. You feel in order to believe. Belief is the result of sustained feeling. So the question is not, how do I believe it? The question is, how do I feel it? And if you do not yet know how to feel a future state that has never happened, then you must begin with a feeling you have already felt. This is the secret. This is the bridge. You do not begin with the future. You begin with the past. Let me explain. You have had moments in your life when you felt exactly the way you would feel if your wish were fulfilled. Perhaps not in the same context, perhaps not tied to the same desire, but the emotional signature was the same. If you desire financial freedom, you have had moments of relief, of ease, of knowing that you are safe. If you desire love, you have had moments of being seen, of being cherished, of feeling that you mattered to someone. If you desire recognition, you have had moments of pride, of accomplishment, of being acknowledged. Those moments are still alive in you. They are not gone. They are recorded in your consciousness, and consciousness is all that exists. So when you do not know how to generate the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you go back to a moment when you felt something close. You go back to a moment when you felt something close. You go back to the memory of fulfillment, and you use that memory as a doorway into the feeling you need now. This is not pretending. This is not wishful thinking. This is the deliberate use of your own past as raw material for your future, because the past and the future are not two separate things. They are both present constructs, held in consciousness, and consciousness is eternal now. So you do not need to invent a feeling you have never felt. You need only to remember a feeling you have felt, and let that memory awaken the state. Let me give you a concrete example. A woman once wrote to me. She said she had been applying the law for months, trying to feel the reality of her desire, which was to be in a committed, loving relationship. But every time she tried to imagine it, she felt only doubt. She could see the scene in her mind. She could picture the man, but the feeling would not come. And without the feeling, she knew the imaginal act was empty. So I asked her a simple question. I said, "Have you ever felt loved? Have you ever felt even for a moment that you were someone's priority, that you were cherished, that you belonged?" And she said yes. She remembered her grandmother. She remembered sitting in her grandmother's kitchen as a child, the smell of bread baking, the warmth of the room, and the way her grandmother looked at her as if she were the most important person in the world. That memory was decades old, but the feeling was immediate. So I said, "Go there. Every night before you imagine the scene of your wish fulfilled, first return to that kitchen. Feel what you felt then. Let that feeling fill you. And when it is full, when it is real, when it is alive in your body, then gently shift the scene. Keep the feeling, but change the context. Now you are not in the kitchen. You are in the arms of the man you love. The feeling remains. The sense of being cherished remains. You are not manufacturing a feeling from nothing. You are transplanting a feeling from one memory into one imaginal act." And this she did. And within weeks, the outer world shifted to reflect the inner state. Not because she believed it would, but because she felt it so consistently that belief became irrelevant. This is what I mean when I say memory is the bridge. You have lived long enough to have felt every feeling you will ever need. You may not have felt it in the context of your current desire, but you have felt it, and the law does not care about context. The law responds to state. So when you are told to feel it real, and you do not know how, you do not give up. You remember. You search your own past for a moment when you felt something close to what you wish to feel now, and you return to that moment not with nostalgia, but with intent. You return to mine it for feeling, and when you have extracted the feeling, you bring it into the present moment. You let it fill your chest, your body, your awareness, and then gently you give it a new scene. You clothe it in the wish fulfilled. This is not deception. This is creation. You are not lying to yourself. You are revealing to yourself that the feeling was never tied to circumstance in the first place. It was always a state of consciousness, and if you felt it once, you can feel it again. And if you can feel it again, you can feel it again. And if you can feel it now, and if you can assume it, and what you assume, you become. Now you may say, "But what if I do not have a memory that matches my desire? What if I have never felt wealthy, never felt successful, never felt truly loved?" Then I tell you this: you have felt relief. You have felt freedom, even if only for a moment. You have felt pride, even in something small. You have felt safe, even briefly. These are the threads. You do not need a perfect match. You need an emotional resonance. Wealth, at its core, is relief and freedom. Love, at its core, is safety and being seen. Success, at its core, is pride and fulfillment. So if you have never felt wealthy, find the moment you felt relief. Find the moment you felt free. Perhaps it was walking out of a job you hated. Perhaps it was paying off a small debt. Perhaps it was paying off a small debt. Perhaps it was paying off a small debt. Perhaps it was simply a morning when you woke and felt no pressure. That is the seed. That is the feeling. You do not need a memory of being a millionaire to feel like a millionaire. You need a memory of relief, of ease, of knowing that you are okay. And you build from there. You take that small flame, that flicker of a feeling, and you tend it. You return to it again and again. You feed it with attention, and as you do, it grows, it deepens, it becomes the state. And the state, once assumed and sustained, becomes your reality. Let me tell you what Neville himself said, and I am paraphrasing from one of his lectures in the early 1960s, but the essence is exact. He said that if you cannot yet feel the wish fulfilled, begin with the feeling of relief that it is done. Not joy, not ecstasy, but simple relief. The kind of relief you feel when a worry lifts, when a burden is gone, when you hear good news after a long wait. That feeling of relief is the feeling of the end. It is the feeling that the problem is over. And if you can generate relief, you are in the state of the wish fulfilled, even if you do not yet feel the fireworks. Relief is the whisper that the thing is done. And the law responds not to volume but to assumption. So do not strain for some grand emotion. Do not try to summon bliss from thin air. Start with relief. Start with the quiet exhale of knowing it is finished. That is enough. That is everything. And how do you generate relief if you do not feel it naturally? You remember a time you felt it naturally. You remember a time you felt it. Perhaps you were waiting for test results, and the doctor called and said you were fine. Perhaps you were afraid you had lost something precious, and then you found it. Perhaps you sent a message you regretted, and the person responded with kindness. In that moment, what did you feel? You felt relief. The knot in your stomach released. Your shoulders dropped. You exhaled. That is the feeling. That is the state. And you can return to it any time you choose, because it is not tied to the circumstance that caused it. It is a state, and consciousness is yours to direct. So tonight, when you sit to do your imaginal act, if you find yourself struggling to believe, if the doubt is loud, do not fight it. Do not try to override it with affirmations or force. Instead, remember a moment of relief. Return to it. Let your body remember what it felt like. Let the exhale happen. And when the relief is present, when it is real in your body, then imagine the scene that implies your wish is fulfilled. Keep the ease. Let the scene be soaked in it. You are not imagining from desperation. You are imagining from the feeling that it is already done. And that changes everything. Now, let us move to the second bridge. If memory is the first tool, gratitude is the second. And I do not mean gratitude as a moral practice. I do not mean counting your blessings to appease a distant God. I mean gratitude as a deliberate emotional state that opens the doorway to other elevated feelings. Because gratitude, true gratitude, is one of the easiest high-frequency feelings to generate on demand. And once you are in a state of gratitude, you are no longer in the state of lack. You are in the state of having. And from the state of having, it is a very short step to the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Let me be clear. I am not asking you to be grateful for what you do not yet have, as if you are trying to trick the universe. I am asking you to become genuinely grateful for anything at all that is already present in your life, because gratitude for one thing opens the channel for all elevated feeling. It breaks the contraction of lack. It interrupts the loop of doubt. And once the channel is open, you can direct the flow toward the wish. Here is how you do it. Right now, as you listen to this, bring to mind one thing in your life that you are genuinely grateful for. It does not need to be large. It does not need to be related to your desire. It can be the fact that you are breathing, that you have a place to sleep tonight, that you have access to these teachings, that someone at some point loved you, that the sun rose this morning. Anything. But do not simply think it. Feel it. Let your chest open. Let warmth rise. Let the feeling of thank God or thank consciousness fill you. Stay there for a few seconds. This is not a mental exercise. This is a feeling exercise. This is not a mental exercise. This is a feeling exercise. And when the gratitude is real, when it is humming in your body, you will notice something. You will notice that in that moment you are not worried. You are not contracted. You are not in lack. You are in fullness. You are in the state of having received. And that state, that frequency, is the same state of having received. And that state, that frequency, is the same state you must be in to feel the wish fulfilled. So gratitude is not the end. It is the primer. It is the way you tune the instrument of your consciousness so that it can play the note you want. Let me give you another testimony, another real example. A man I once spoke to was trying to assume the state of financial abundance. But every time he closed his eyes to imagine wealth All he could feel was the weight of his debt. The anxiety was so loud he could not hear the wish. And I told him, do not begin with wealth. Begin with gratitude. Find one thing right now that you have, that you did not have to worry about today. He thought for a moment and said, I have a car. It runs. I did not have to fix it. I did not have to worry about getting to work. I said, good. Feel that. Feel the relief of not having to worry about your car today. Feel the gratitude that it started when you turned the key. He did. And I watched his body shift, his breathing deepened. The tightness left his face, and I said, now, from this place, imagine wealth. Imagine the feeling of not having to worry about anything. Not just the car, but anything. You already know what that felt. You're feeling it now. Just expand it. And he did. And for the first time he was able to enter the state without the interference of lack. Because gratitude had opened the door. It had shifted him from the frequency of anxiety to the frequency of anxiety to the frequency of having. And once he was on that frequency, the imagination could do its work. So I tell you, if you struggle to feel the wish fulfilled, do not begin there. Begin with gratitude. Spend 30 seconds, 1 minute, feeling genuine gratitude for anything at all. Let it be real. Let it open your chest. Let it soften the grip of lack. And then, from that open place, from that state of fullness, turn your attention to the wish. You will find that the resistance is less. The doubt is quieter. The feeling comes easier, because you are no longer trying to generate a feeling from a state of contraction. You are generating it from a state of expansion. You are generating it from a state of contraction. And consciousness expands or contracts according to the state you occupy. Gratitude is expansion. And from expansion, all things are possible. You can also use gratitude in a more direct way, and this is something Neville hinted at but did not always spell out plainly. You can practice gratitude for the wish as if it has already happened. Now, be careful here. This is not pretending. This is not fake it till you make it. This is entering the state so completely that thankfulness becomes natural. Imagine for a moment that your wish is fulfilled. Not someday. Now. It is done. It is yours. And from that state, from that assumption, what do you feel? You feel relief, yes. But you also feel gratitude. You feel relief, yes. But you also feel gratitude. You feel, thank God it happened. Thank God it worked out. Thank God I did not give up. That gratitude is not a lie. It is the feeling that corresponds to the state of fulfillment. So if you practice that gratitude now, you are practicing the state. You are rehearsing the end. And the rehearsal becomes the reality. Because consciousness does not distinguish between rehearsal and fact. It only knows what you are feeling now. So when you say thank you and you mean it, even before the fact has appeared, you are sealing the assumption. You are collapsing the bridge between desire and fulfillment. Because you are no longer desiring, you are having. And gratitude is the signature of having. I want to be very plain with you. You do not need to believe your wish is fulfilled to feel grateful for it. You only need to assume it is fulfilled and feel what you would feel if that assumption were true. And one of the clearest feelings of fulfillment is gratitude. So tonight, or right now, sit quietly and say, either aloud or silently, thank you. Thank you that it is done. Thank you that it is done. Thank you that you not have to worry anymore. Thank you that it worked out exactly as I imagined. Thank you. And as you say it, that you by it say it, let the warmth come. Let the relief come. You are not waiting for evidence to be grateful. You are being grateful as evidence. And the outer world, which is only ever a mirror of inner state, will have no choice but to conform. Now I will give you the practical method. You have heard the principle. You understand that feeling does not require belief. You understand that memory is a bridge and gratitude is a primer. Now let me walk you through the exact process you will use tonight, or whenever you sit down to do this work. This is not complicated. It is simple. But simplicity does not mean easy. It means direct. And this is as direct as it gets. First, choose the desire. Be specific. Do not try to imagine 5 different things at once. Choose one thing, one state, one wish. If it is money, decide the amount or the feeling of the amount. If it is love, decide the person or the feeling of being loved. If it is health, decide the state of wellness. Be clear. The law requires clarity not because it is picky, but because clarity focuses consciousness. And consciousness, focused, is power. Second, identify the feeling that corresponds to the wish fulfilled, not the process of getting it, not the moment of receiving it, the feeling of already having it. What would you feel if it were already done? Relief, peace, gratitude, pride, safety, freedom. Choose the feeling. Name it. You will build everything else around this feeling. Third, if you do not yet have access to that feeling directly, use the bridge of memory. Ask yourself, when have I felt something like this before? When have I felt relief? When have I felt safe? When have I felt free? Go back to that moment. Close your eyes. Return to it. Do not think about it. Be in it. See what you heard. Hear what you heard. Feel what you felt. Let your body remember. Stay there until the feeling is present. This may take 30 seconds. It may take 2 minutes. Do not rush. The feeling is everything. Once the feeling is real, once it is alive in your body, you have the raw material. You have the frequency. Now you will transplant it. Fourth, while holding that feeling, gently shift the scene. You are no longer in the memory. You are in the imaginal act that implies the wish fulfilled. You are not imagining the wish coming to you. You are imagining from the wish already being yours. So if it is money, you are not imagining receiving a check. You are imagining the calm confidence of knowing your account is full. If it is love, you are not imagining meeting someone. You are imagining the quiet intimacy of already being with them. If it is health, you are not imagining getting better, you are imagining the getting better. You are imagining the ease of a body that feels good. Keep the feeling from the memory. Let it saturate the new scene. The scene can be very simple. It can be a single image, a single sentence you hear, a single touch. It does not need to be a movie. It needs to be soaked in the feeling, that is all. Fifth, repeat the scene. Loop it, not mechanically, but with feeling. Feel it again and again. Each time, let the feeling feel it again and again. Each time, let the newness wear off until it feels familiar. Familiar is the key. You are not trying to create a peak experience. You are not trying to create a new normal. You are trying to make the wish fulfilled feel so natural that it no longer excites you. It simply is. That is the sign of assumption. When the imaginal act feels as natural as your current reality, the assumption has been made, and the outer world must follow. Sixth, and this is where most people fail, you release it. You do not cling. You do not check the outer world the next morning to see if it worked. You do not repeat the imaginal act from a place of desperation as if you are trying to force it into being. You did the work. You felt the feeling. You assumed the state. Now you let it go. You trust that consciousness is the only reality, and what you have assumed in consciousness must appear in the world of effect. This does not mean you never think about it again. It means you no longer imagine from lack. If you return to the scene, you return from the state of already having it, not from the state of trying to get it. There is a difference, and the difference is everything. This is the method. Memory to feeling, feeling to scene, scene to assumption, assumption to release. And all of it begins with the understanding that you do not need to believe it first. You feel it first. Belief is the fruit, not the root. Now let me take you deeper. Let me show you why this matters beyond the wish. Because you did not come to this teaching only to get things. You came because somewhere inside you, you know that you are more than you have been told. You know that the world is not happening to you. You know that you are not a victim of circumstance, of fate, of luck. And these teachings confirm what you have always suspected. You are not in the world. The world is in you. Consciousness is the only reality. The outer world is only ever a reflection of inner state. And if that is true, and I tell you it is true, then there is no such thing as a circumstance that you did not first assume. There is no such thing as a limitation that you did not first accept. Everything you see, everything you experience, is the outpicturing of what you have assumed to be true. And if you have assumed limitation, lack, unworthiness, then that is what you see. But you are not bound to that assumption. You can assume something else. And the moment you do, the world begins to shift. This is not a game. This is not a trick. This is the structure of reality. And when you learn to generate the feeling, When you learn to assume the state, you are not bending the rules. You are using them. You are stepping into your role as creator, not creator of a distant universe, but creator of your own experience. Because you are not a man in the world hoping for things to change. You are consciousness itself, wearing the mask of a man, imagining the world into being. And the moment you realize this, everything changes. The moment you stop asking, how do I get it, and start asking, who do I need to be, you have crossed the threshold. Because getting is the language of the eta man. Being is the language of the inner man. And the inner man is the only man there is. So when I teach you to generate the feeling, I am not teaching you a technique to get a thing. I am teaching you to remember who you are. I am teaching you that you are not at the mercy of the world. The world is at the mercy of you. And the moment you assume a state and feel it real, the entire structure of the outer world begins to rearrange itself to match. Not because you deserve it, not because you deserve it, not because you worked hard, but because the law is impersonal and absolute. Consciousness is the only reality. And what you are your experience. This is why Neville said again and again, dare to assume it, because assumption is not hope, it is not wishing. It is the act of claiming a state as true, before the senses confirm it. And that act, that daring, is the hinge upon which your entire life turns. You have been assuming limitation your whole life, and the world has reflected it, back to you with perfect faithfulness. Now assume something else. Assume wealth. Assume health. Assume health. Assume health. Feel it. Feel it now. Feel it tonight. Feel it until the assumption hardens into fact. And when it does, you will not be surprised. You will simply know that the law is real, that consciousness is the only reality, and that you are not a man seeking to change his life. You are consciousness, imagining a new life into being. Let me close with this. You came here because you saw the title, How to Generate the Feeling When You Do Not Believe It Yet. And now you know. You know that belief is not required. You know that memory is the bridge. You know that gratitude is the primer. You know that feeling is the method by which assumption is born. And you know the exact steps to take tonight. But more than that, you know who you are. You are not separate from the thing you desire. You are not far from the life you want. You are one assumption away, one imaginal act away, one imaginal act away, and the only thing standing between you and that life is the refusal to assume it. So assume it. Not tomorrow, tonight, not when you believe it, now, because the feeling does not wait for belief. The feeling creates belief, and belief creates the world. Tonight, as you lie down to sleep, do not replay the day. Do not worry about tomorrow. Do not rehearse the problem. Instead, remember a moment when you felt the way you want to feel now. Go back to it. Let the feeling ride, and when it is real, when it is full, shift the scene. Imagine the wish fulfilled. Keep the feeling. Let it soak the scene. Let it become natural. And then let it go. Sleep in the feeling of the wish fulfilled. And when you wake, do not check to see if it worked. Simply assume that it did. Walk as the one who already has it. Think as the one who already has it. Think as the one who already is it. And the world, which is only yourselves pushed out, will have no choice but to reflect the new assumption back to you. This is not faith. This is law. And the law works whether you believe it or not. But how much faster it works, how much more smoothly, when you stop fighting it and start using it. So go now, not with hope, but with certainty. Not with hope, but with certainty. Not with wishing, but with assumption. You do not need to believe it yet. You only need to feel it. And if you feel it, and you persist in the feeling, the belief will come. And when the belief comes, the world will follow. I tell you, try it, dare to assume it, and you will prove to yourself that consciousness is the only reality, that you are not a creature of circumstance. You are the creator of circumstance, and the thing you desire is not out there waiting for you to find it. It is in here, waiting for you to claim it. So claim it, feel it, assume it, and watch as the world rearranges itself to match the state you have dared to occupy. This is the promise. This is the law. and it is yours, now, tonight, if only you will use it.